Hello Internet, this is Benny Lewis. I'm Benny the Irish Polyglot, and this is my book, Fluent in 3 Months, How Anyone at Any Age Can Learn to Speak Any Language from Anywhere in the World. Just kidding, that's my attempt at an Irish accent. This is a really good book, and I wanted to share it with you. I just picked it up a couple weeks ago, and Benny Lewis, you might have heard of already, does these 3-month challenges. And I've been following him. I followed him on, I followed his videos as he did Chinese and Japanese and Arabic. It's really interesting to see his approach to learning languages. He says that you need to start speaking from the very first day, from your very first hour. You need to start speaking. And that's kind of the basis of his whole approach. That it's all about, you get input to make output. That is, you learn words so that you can use these words. And I think it works really well. And I'll talk more about why I think that is a good approach. Now, my challenges have been different. I usually do a 2-week challenge, typically, or maybe usually 2 weeks, to get the initial, as I call it, the initial splash, that very first jump into the language. Because there really is a lot you can do in 2 weeks, and if you know that you have a deadline coming up in just 10 days or so, then you're very, very unlikely to not study on that day. Likewise, if you have a 3-month deadline, and if you've told the world about it through your YouTube channel, then you're very likely to study hard because you kind of have a lot riding on this. Now, just more about the book. He packs a lot of information into this book, and I was familiar with most of it already from my own studies and from seeing what he has done and hearing him talk about it, and a lot of it was familiar for me. But he really does, I think it's really well written, very well organized. Some of my favorite chapters here were the chapter on how to get going, how to start learning learning phrases first, and then moving on to self-introduction, and then the basic, how to generate some basic sentences. Another favorite chapter of mine was when he talks about particular languages, Romance languages, Germanic languages, Asian languages, and having studied many of those, I thought that was really insightful. He also talks a lot about grammar, and in a cool way. He, I think, studies grammar much later than I do. I think grammar helps you, sort of kickstarts your study into it, and he sees it as an important element of getting through the intermediate stage. Yeah, it's well written, it's well edited. The only thing I thought was weird was the book is only right justified and not left justified. I don't know why he chose to do that, and I don't know why I think it's weird. Maybe to make it look more like a blog, probably. I like this cover, how it looks like it's a passport book. That's pretty cool too. So I recommend this book to anyone who's interested in doing this, in learning a second language. There are definitely enough ideas in the book to make it worthwhile. On the other hand, I do think that the whole idea, the whole concept of Fluent in 3 months is kind of a chicken and egg problem, because if you're motivated enough to buy this book and motivated enough to even start something as crazy as trying to learn a language in a limited amount of time, then that presupposes a certain amount of at least interest, if not investment. And those kinds of people are much more likely to continue. Once you've started, you're likely to continue. So can anyone learn a language in 3 months? No, absolutely not. But that's because most people don't want to. Most people are not trying to do that. So again, anyone who is motivated to learn a language able to learn in 3 months? Again, we have to adjust what fluent means. If by fluent you mean have a basic conversation about basic things, then yes, I do think it's possible. I don't think I'd call that fluent, though. I think fluent is a little bit bigger of a definition, that I think you do need to be able to understand other people's conversations, other people's language production, to really be fluent. considered fluent in that language. But again, there's no real official definition, so I don't think that's the point to get hung up on. In fact, I agree with Benny Lewis in saying that all these other sort of ideas that we come up with are really just excuses for why we don't actually do the thing. Like, oh, you couldn't really be fluent in 3 months, so why even try? Well, I think because if you study for 3 months, you will learn a lot, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a great hobby to have. It's a hobby that connects you with other people and connects you with other cultures, and there's almost no downside to doing this. I mean, there's not a lot of other things that you can do that can gain a skill, a hobby that can gain a skill that connects you with people from around the world, from your own home, from within your own home. It's a pretty unique thing. Now, again, about his approach, he has so many great ideas in here. That's I think where the greatest benefit is, in that he has a lot of ideas about how to get started, how to use different resources, using Skype conversations, language partners, also where in the world you are. I also don't believe that you need to be in that country to speak that language, but of course you do need to sort of replace that with other things. You need to have a lot of input, a lot of ability to engage in the language from wherever you are. For me, this is why studying Swedish is easier than studying Norwegian. I just find a lot more input, a lot more resources for Swedish. Likewise, Chinese is easier to study than Tagalog because I find a lot more input and a lot more Chinese speakers than Tagalog speakers. So there has to be some way for you to get the language, to get the input, as I say. I think that's it. Thanks for watching this. If you've read it or if you're interested in it, leave a comment. I'd like to hear what you think about it. And if you haven't seen his videos, I highly recommend them. It's amazing to me to see what he can do. Like in his first video, he struggles visibly and is able to say a few things, but it doesn't sound great. Within a couple weeks, you see his speed pick up and his facility pick up, and even by the end of a month or two, it sounds like that language. You know, it sounds like he's getting there. So anyway, check him out, and I'll see you around too. All right, bye.